Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for listening. We are kinsless this week, so podcast will probably be significantly shorter and significantly better audio. But we miss you all the same.
Sorry, Pavel, you're a guinea pig because I know you well, and I don't care if this is a bad experience for you.
That's the way to treat people, Mike.
Welcome to the Golden Potato, secondary player with potential. Pavel, how's it going?
Well, it was going well until you said that, and now I'm just pissed and ready to get off this podcast. How are you, Mike?
I'm great. It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, man, technology, COVID really brings people together over Riverside.fm. So excited to do this yet again.
Full potato glory. Quinn, how are you doing?
I'm good. I gotta ask though, where the potato thing came from? I don't know, and a bunch of other people don't know either.
So do you know Gabe Stump?
Yeah.
Gabe. Yeah, we all know Gabe.
Yeah.
So I think one practice in the fall of 2012 was on Franklin Field before it was a parking lot. We were practicing, and Gabe comes up to me and he asks me, "So, like, what do they eat in Poland?" Just straight up, like as if we're just aliens that we have special food or something. And I was like, just regular food, man, just like meat and potatoes. And then the potato part really stuck with him, and he's like, potato. And from then on, Gabe Stump has been calling me potato, and I had to.
Oh, can you tell the story about Evan Paget?
Oh yes, Evan Paget also sent me one of those like male potatoes in 2015.
15.
Yeah, 2015.
What was that service called?
I think it's like mailapotato.com. I'm sure.
Look it up.
Look this. Okay.
Mailapotato.com.
No, but the potato said like "fuck you" or something. It was like a very potato. I was like, who did this?
Did you figure out that was Evan? I mean, of course it was Evan.
Immediately, the guy just brags about mailing potatoes to other people, and I was his prime victim for that.
He was an inspiration for me to send random amounts of cents to people in Venmo, or request a bunch of money. I never really request money, but I will. Like for a while, Christina Mickle and I would only message each other through Venmo by sending each other pennies.
That seems desperate, but you got to do what you got to do. So the thing is called mailaspud.com.
Mailaspud.com. We will look it up.
Interesting.
I might need to get your address and send you another
Definitely
one.
not. Now that you frame it that way, nobody's getting my address.
No, we're sending you a gift for coming on the pod.
Yeah.
It's a gift. It's really
we're
good.
We're making T-shirts for Joe, and we're making potatoes for Pavel.
Sounds good.
All right. So, okay. Pavel, legendary Mama Bird alum. Last time we won a national championship was with Pavel as a captain, part of leadership. Birdies are coming off a strong Centex victory. I asked both you guys to watch the BYU game. Anything come to mind?
Yeah, they have to stop throwing it to Danny and Calvin only. Like it's like a 2% show. Like
thank God.
The reason why we won in 2014 is at some point, I think we all decided to just run a vertical stack and hit a dumb swing and work it down the field. I think we figured that out in quarters of nationals. Even though we had the best players in the world, we still kind of shared the ball. Right now, it's just like every time. Well, at Centex, it was what I saw.
Same set every point.
A wheel route. Danny and Calvin, just a 3-2 stack, and the two is Danny and number 5 and number 8. One's going to get it and then jack it to the other one. And that's not going to work when it's 11-11 and everyone's tired.
Hopefully nobody else is watching the film. It's pretty obvious, though.
Yep.
That 2014 team, who stands out as role players? Denny and Mark came on late in this season.
Yeah. I mean, Mark always plays well. I mean, like Mark Rawls always played well. like really well at nationals, like all of his years. It wasn't just 2014. Let's see who else. I mean, Hida. I think Hida was the MVP of like Press Day and or Stanford Invite that year. Like Hida was
he like
unstoppable.
literally got a MVP jersey. Who was giving those away? Was it Skied back then, or was it LT World?
No, it was Skied through Spin, I believe. I think it was a Spin jersey that was given by the Skied reporters / pundits.
R.I.P.
So yeah, Hida was. I mean, obviously Tim Morrissey played really well.
Yeah.
Air Tim.
Less of a role player, though.
Todd, come on. Yeah, I mean, like Todd Woma, Captain Todd Woma. Come on, show some respect for Toast.
Yeah. Did you know that Todd comes over once a week to lift?
I mean, I didn't, but that doesn't surprise me.
Of course, right? Yeah, Pavel, you have to make it back to Denver sometime and come to the gym. Well, yeah, actually, I have a note in here about trusting young players. The couple of our young guys, Ryan Shigley he's getting his reps, and he's been tossed into the fire. So Quinn, he's kind of filling a similar role that you did your freshman year of when you fuck up, it's kind of a disaster, but we have to let him fuck up because otherwise what's going to happen to him? How is he going to get better?
Yeah, I saw him catching poles, and it really took me back and just made me scared all over again. But I feel like he has a bit more confidence than I did when I was in that position. So he's throwing more turns just probably because he's better than I was then, and probably because he has more confidence. Then I was just like throwing dumps and trying not to touch a disc as much as possible. But I think it's the best way to learn, especially for a good young player like him.
Pavel, what do you have any advice for these young players as freshmen coming in?
I mean, I guess relating that to what we just talked about, like we didn't have any freshmen in that 2014 squad. We had no rookies. It was all returners. So I can't really, if you want to win a championship, maybe you shouldn't play your rookies. I'm kidding. That's a joke. It's a joke for the podcast, Brian.
He's kind of a sweetheart. On film, he looks like the second coming of Atkins, but pretty shy actually.
Can Atkins become more shy? And I think that would help.
We're working on it. Yeah. It's called Chilkins.
We're doing our best. Yeah.
Chilkins. Can't wait.
Okay. So you're out in LA now teaching. What are you doing? How come you're not back in Colorado? What happened?
Because I got a job at Caltech, and when Caltech gives you a job, you take it. So yeah, I'm a professor of economics at Caltech. So that's what I'm doing out here in LA.
Professor Potato.
Professor secondary potato. Secondary professor potato.
Okay.
Secondary assistant professor potato. Huge flex right there.
So what's LA been like so far? Any good Jeff Landisman stories yet? Any good Daniel Brunker stories?
Well, I have a lot of Jeff stories, but none of them can be shared on this podcast. Like there's so many. Like I don't know how Danny's alive, to be honest.
Has he
Danny
told you any good?
Yeah, I mean, Danny should have, perished a long time ago, based on the stories that Jeff tells and the way that Jeff conducts himself. I don't know how they made it through puberty and
has he given you any good Danny stories?
Danny's just a big goofball, man. Like all that I've been hearing is that this Danny kid is just loves frisbee. It's like a little golden retriever, just wants to chase a frisbee down and somehow does not want to move back to LA, which is an issue. So that's my goal is to get this Danny to move out of Colorado and back to his roots in Los Angeles.
You need to come back to your roots.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how well you treat me on this podcast.
Not Pavel. Quinn, with how would you describe Danny as a teammate?
Golden Retriever is a great way to describe it. But just like playing with Danny is amazing. But one thing that really stands out to me about Danny on the field is his way he responds to, like adversity on the field mostly. Like when I drop something, I'll like sit there and stare at my hands for 10 seconds and curse myself for the rest of eternity. But when Danny messes up, he just like shakes it off and gets on D or, whatever. And it's pretty inspiring, especially for such a young player. And I think someone like him with so much expectation from some young age, it's pretty impressive the way he handles himself on the field. And if you have 5 minutes, looking at Jeff Landisman's Instagram is really, really fun. So,
I mean, the guy has been playing Frisbee for 10 years now, and he's 22, 23. Like, I mean, I guess he's been playing for 15 years. Like, the guy has been playing more Frisbee than some of us on this call. So it's
yeah.
I mean, it's like second nature to him. It's not like, oh, he came from some other background and he found Frisbee by accident. It was very much ingrained in him at a very young age.
Yeah.
By two parents who have played their whole lives. So it's no surprise.
I thought that we were going to have to break his ego when he came to CU as a freshman, but that was not the case at all. A little flashy, but at first, but nothing to write home about.
I kind of feel like he's reverted back to the flashiness on Bird, like these days, like without me and without Kins, he's back to the flashiness and needs to get back to how he was playing on Bravo and Bird in his earlier
You think
days.
so?
I think so. It's just like Pawel was saying, everybody knows where the disc is going when they're playing Bird. It's like, it's so easy to see, and it's usually Danny throwing to Cal or Cal throwing to Danny, and it ain't working as well as it could be.
As well as it could be.
As well as it could be. They obviously just won Centex, but I think they have higher expectations for themselves in past tournaments, in my opinion.
Yeah, we have some screws to tighten for sure. That said, his Smokey performance, 0 turnovers, maybe 1 turnover. I don't know. I haven't looked at the stats from Centex yet. Definitely more turnovers. The flashiest that I've seen him be is he'll throw these around forehand deep shots.
They're like high release too. Yeah.
And one of them was absolutely disgusting, but sometimes I feel like he could just throw the backhand. Okay, speaking of throwing, Pawel, do you have top 5 throwers in the game today? Could you list top 5?
Pawel. The list stops right there.
All right. Not including Pawel?
No, that includes 5 Pawels. Pretty sure. Yeah, 5. 5 iterations of me.
Who would you choose that's not named Pawel? If you couldn't choose Pawel. And this segues pretty well to some of my other questions.
I really don't want to say Joe White. I don't want to say anyone that I know, because then they'll get all upset at me. Why didn't you mention me? Why did you mention Joe White?
I thought that was the point of Pawel, to cause a ruckus.
Not within my own team or teams. It's just, I stir shit externally, not internally, which is a huge change for me, because usually I like to stir shit internally, and that's what I definitely
okay.
in Colorado. But I
let's
want to do trash.
Let's come back to top 5 throwers, because you're talking about stirring up shit in your own team. What comes to mind when I say Eric Hotailing?
Coffee. Yeah.
And your relationship
with Coffee or with Eric?
With Eric.
Combative, but it's like a love combative. Like, the guy is just so crazy about me. He loves me so much that it's just very angry all the time.
Oh God, I can't wait for you to hear this. I actually have no idea what he would say. Every time he always wants to guard you whenever we play you. He always says, I fucking hate that guy, but I think he loves you.
I think I broke him, and I think he knows that I caused serious trauma to his college experience. And I mean, as much as this is a joke, I think it's true.
So you are the reason he's been such a pain in my ass for so many years.
Well, Coach, you're the one that threw him out of practice. I was just the one that instigated the whole, that precipitated rather the whole, spiral down.
That has happened
where he couldn't
before.
control his negative emotions.
Yeah, Eric has had to go home early more than once. But he's on a positive journey as well.
So that matters.
Okay, let's go back. Top 5 throwers not named Pawel.
Look, I don't really think about other players besides me. This is really hard. Do you have to be male or can they be female?
They can be female.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're all female then. No. Valeria's good. Claire's good.
You got to have a definitive top 5, though.
Yeah, in order.
No, there's no way.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I don't have that much time.
You gotta. Yeah, I thought that you were like a steadfast. This is not the Pawel that I thought you'd be. Just like a dart, you would.
He's got it in there. He's just not telling us.
Yeah,
I don't want to give anyone the clout. Like the longer that I've been alive on this planet, the more I've valued giving and taking away people's clout. Like no free clout from Pawel, man, because Pawel doesn't get any, you don't get any. So that's where I am right now.
We only have like 100 listeners, so chances are the people you name aren't going to be.
Yeah,
listening.
they're not listening anyway.
So when I bump this, it, my
that's true. What do you got? What are you to now?
Right.
12,000, 14,000? How many people you got?
I've been decreasing because I've been doing other stuff with my life, but no, I'm like 10K.
People are unsubscribing.
Well, totally. Yeah, it always fluctuates.
Oh, wow. I wouldn't know. I'm not. We're small fries in the ocean of social media.
Now you are, but once you start posting constantly, or once you get more better players on and they have spicier takes or actual reasonable takes.
Yeah, I would like a spicy take from Pawel.
Everything I say is spicy, man. Everything I mean, the fact that I don't have a top 5 because I am so self-absorbed should tell you something.
All right. Would you describe yourself as humble or cocky?
What do you think?
What do I think you would say?
Yeah. Like, why is this the question? Like, what do you think I am?
Because I'm trying to get to know the person that I've known for about 10 years now.
I think once I left Colorado, I realized that I have a super ego. And I didn't realize it when I was in college. Or when I was definitely in high school or growing up. I never realized how big the ego is in my mind. And now I'm just way better at feeding it and not letting it ruin my relationships, which is this is complete truth. I am, to my core, the cockiest guy you'll probably ever meet. But I will try not to admit that or show that externally so I still have some friends because I can't just be totally isolated all the time. So it's
purely for selfish reasons.
I do it for the fact that nobody would want to hang out with me if I'm just like, I'm the fucking shit. Like I'm Pawel Janas. But internally, in privacy, I just thump my chest. I go to the mirror and be like, I'm Pawel. I'm Pawel. I'm good.
Secondary
I'm so good.
Professor.
That secondary assistant professor. Yeah.
Do you have your hat nearby?
That thing is framed, bro. That era is secondary potato. The secondary potential era. That's gone. That's been framed. It's on my wall. It's on my wall. I mean, it's in my house. I'm in my office right now, but it's so I have all my jerseys framed like I'm a fucking MVP of every team I play on, and I have all my hats hanging like the rafters, like all my hat, like literally. So yeah, I mean, nobody is. I mean, very very rarely do I allow people to stay with me because then their whole opinion of like who Pawel is would just shift dramatically because it is.
I don't think that it would. I think that we all think you're full of yourself.
Oh, good. Exactly. But this would just solidify it, and I want there to be some uncertainty about that. I want there to be like, no, this is just an act that he's putting on. It's just a bit.
That is my question.
Funny on social media. He's just a bit. Like this
literally, the question I have below is, are you playing a character?
No, I wish I was. I wish I had more social intelligence to have humility. but I have no humility. And
all right. Well,
sometimes it hurts. Sometimes
throughout all of your narcissism, you still support Mama Bird through thick and thin. How closely did you follow Quinn's career? Quinn, your freshman year was 17.
He didn't make nationals 2018. I'm never going to let him forget that. Come on.
Yeah, it was the 16-17 season. Yeah.
So right after you graduated, Pawel. Yeah. Do you have any proud alum thoughts you have, or just total visceral hatred of your opponents?
No, I think unfortunately Quinn started this trend of not wearing shorts in college, which I think is totally inappropriate. Which, and unfortunately, I think I saw also Calvin is doing this now too, which is so bad. So if Quinn's legacy is to be shortless, that's not a good legacy, and unfortunately that might be it. So that's all I got to say.
Yeah, but have you left a mark on any of the current Bird players?
Absolutely not. Besides, besides mentally destroying Eric Hoteling, no mark. And besides having Coach still there, no mark. I've learned nothing.
Eric Hoteling sometimes doesn't wear shorts either, though. So,
which is unfortunate. I think it's so inappropriate. It's like, come on, guys, legitimacy. No,
it's not my favorite thing, but c'est la vie. It's not a fight that I'm gonna fight. All right, Pawel, tell me about LA. Your roster. Are you excited to have Jason back with you? Did he move there? What's the deal with that?
Dude, LA is awesome. I think Quinn should move here. I think anyone who's listening to this podcast should go and move to LA.
Without shorts?
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Oh.
Leave your shorts at home.
Will you take your shorts off if Quinn moves to LA?
Absolutely. I will not buy another pair of shorts again if Quinn moves to LA. Look, listen, it's perfect weather, perfect access to mountains, perfect access to the beach. Like,
you just said it's been raining for 3 months.
Yeah, you just said that.
That's fake news. I never said that. This is you're just putting words in my mouth that I never said. Perfect weather, perfect frisbee, perfect mountains. It's just paradise.
Are you playing Machine this year?
Yeah, the plan right now is to move to Chicago in September and October.
For real?
Yeah, because I don't want to travel, so I'm gonna practice with the guys for 6 weeks and then move back.
Practice with which guys for 6 weeks?
Move Machine. So practice all September and October, and then obviously don't have to move anywhere for nationals, because nationals will still be in San Diego. So it just kind of lines up perfectly.
You teaching?
Exactly. So I'm not teaching in the fall, so that actually makes it way easier for me to just do my own thing.
How did you come on this decision and not try to play like Condors or?
Well, because I love the Machine guys as much as I hate Joe White. I love everyone else. So it's like, and like at this point, believe it or not, I'm the second most tenured guy on the team behind Walden. Because Vaughn's retiring. So I was the third, and now I'm the second. So it's like I have to come back. It's really hard when you're almost 30 years old to try to ingrain yourself into a different culture and a different team. And I know that I'm going to have to do that at some point, because I know at some point Machine is going to have an overhaul, and I know at some point we won't be competitive. But like, as long as the championship window is still there, I would like to continue playing with the guys that I grew up with, like adult wise, not like young adult wise.
Right.
How do you feel the large amount of travel players on Machine affects the dynamic and your guys' overall play and results?
Probably negatively. But it's like, do we have more local guys that are lower tier, or do we draw from all of Midwest and some South Central and some Southwest to put on a better product? Like, I think we do a really good job of scheduling important events on special weekends that everyone makes. And like at this point, like we've all been playing with each other for many years now. So it's not like we don't need to go over the playbook or walkthroughs. Like we just go in and play.
You feel like you have chemistry?
Absolutely. Like I've played with everyone on the O-line for multiple years now, so it's not like
Abe fit in well.
Abe too well. I mean, too well. It didn't sit well with my super ego. I really didn't like that. He played too well.
That guy could play well anywhere. He's super good.
I agree, unfortunately.
I was surprised that how much you centered to Abe, actually.
Dude, me too, man. Me too.
Oh, that had to hurt, man.
Yeah, how'd you feel about that?
It hurt, man. It hurt, man. It hurt.
Pawel, the pull catcher.
Never again.
Jordan Kerr.
Yeah, what about him?
Thoughts?
I think Jordan Kerr should move to LA.
How old is Jordan? Do you know how old he? We were trying to figure this out. I looked it up in the program.
Oh, hold on, I'll tell you exactly. I'll tell you his birthday, his social security number, and as well as his address.
Yeah, we'll send him a spud.
Yeah, we'll send him a spud. How about that? I'd love to send him a spud from Pawel.
And it'll say, Pawel thinks you suck.
Yeah.
Hold on, I have it here. Alrighty, Jordan Kerr. You are. Okay, he was 24 years old last year, so I'm guessing if you add 1 to that, that would make him 25 this year.
Okay, the program said he was 25 last nationals.
So maybe he was 25. Yeah. So he's probably
like a 97 or a 96, maybe.
Yeah. 160. He lives in American Fort, Utah. I'm not gonna say his address. That's not actually.
You could edit it out.
I'm mostly surprised that when I think about travel players, I think about guys that we can add to the D line. But you guys said fuck it and had 3 on your O line, 2 or 3 on your O line.
Yeah, because I was traveling too, so So it was me, Abe, and Jordan, and then the non-travel were Joe, Jack. Oh, I guess Walt. Walt was also.
Walt, yeah.
But he wasn't. He actually lived in Chicago, right? So he came to Chicago in May or June and stayed through the season. So he actually was there practicing or potting or whatever, weekly doing stuff. So he actually wasn't practice or he wasn't travel. And Paul, yeah. So it's just me, Abe, and Jordan who were the travel players. Fun year, wasn't it, Quinn? Wasn't it a great year?
It was a blast. So much fun.
Blast off.
Blast off, baby. You got your Bravo jerseys nearby? You framed those too?
Absolutely not. I would never frame a team that I've only played 1 season on and practice played for 1 season. As much as I want to, I don't think. I don't even have a team pick from that year. We don't even have a good team pick from that year, and nobody responded to my email. I was like, guys, there's 100 people on this listserv, Bravo alumni, and none of you guys can send me a picture. Wow, that's like really
There's
bad.
not a team picture from that year?
No, I've been looking through Ulti photos and through people and Facebook, and there's nothing of that team because we probably wanted to forget it because we were so good, and then we got
lost.
That was the last. We lost in pre-quarters to a team that went 0-3, some stupid machine guys. So yeah, it was not good.
And then you joined. Yeah, back then Machine would upset Bravo a lot.
Now, how does it feel the tables have turned now that Bravo now upsets Machine a lot now that you're playing for Machine?
Are you the problem, Pawel?
You might be. Maybe that's why you're sending to Abe.
How do I leave this call? Can I just X out of here? How do I leave? Okay,
When's the last time you beat Bravo, actually?
Oh.
I mean, did we play in 2021?
Yeah, Nationals crossover game. You guys beat us.
So not that long ago.
It was like the 8th place play-in crossover game.
Oh, that's right. When we concussed when Dalton concussed
Cody
Spicer, who
murdered him.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, you guys beat us pretty easily then.
At the same time, who cares about fucking consolation?
Yeah, exactly.
I would never.
You can have that one, Pavel. I'll let you have that.
I will not. Fuck off. I will never.
Yeah, we've had
Fair
had this discussion a lot. How not only is consolation sort of silly, but I'm not a fan of tournaments. I'm not a fan of playing more than 2 games in a day.
I mean, that's a whole discussion, semi-pro versus USAU.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a hot topic right now.
Yeah, let's talk about refs a little bit. What's your preference between self-officiation and referees? Well, I'll just let you talk.
I love refs. I think the worst part of Frisbee is when one team decides to like hunt for calls. Like I've been on the receiving end of coaches telling their players to just call a travel on me.
Texas.
Just because they have seen footage of me and I travel sometimes, and now every time I throw, people just call it travel on me. And then like you can do that because it's the spirit of the game, and you can do it. And like I have no repercussion to be like, no, like your coach, you big dumb, told you that you should call travel on me, but you just can't keep up with me, and you're fucking sad.
Are you sure they didn't? What if they're just telling them to look for a travel?
That in itself is another problem. That's another problem.
But see, when there's a ref there, it's the ref will make a choice. And yes, I do get travel calls in the ref, and there's a 10-yard penalty, and then it is resolved. There's no, people don't have the weapon of doing stupid stuff.
Pavel, I know you're active in the L2 World Discord. I'm trying to find the thread right now. Did you see the one where they were talking about the BYU player backpacking someone? What channel is that in? I'm curious.
College D1 men's.
College D1 men's. So people are recommending in this thread that there's some sort of standard punishment that's like not a PMF, not whatever. I saw Walk even mentioned their coaches should have sat that player for a half. But there's no way to consistently enforce a penalty like this. So what do you think about self-officiation? Do you think it has a place? Do you think it works at all? Or?
We have to self-officiate if the sport wants to grow, because obviously we can't have observers, we can't have referees at every league game or every youth game. So like the concept of the spirit of the game, the concept of self-officiating has to like live and thrive for us to develop as a sport. But at the highest levels, like observers should be way more active. And obviously all the semi-pro games should always have referees. When there are actual consequences for people's super egos, that's when you have to make the right calls.
Self-officiation, I actually do like at youth levels. I think it maybe is a different game a little bit, but at higher levels, I don't think it works. But why is it not realistic to have referees at every game? Doesn't every other sport do that?
We can't get observers at regionals, Mike. Like we literally had two observers at Great Lakes regionals last year. Or maybe even one observer. Like we don't have observers. People don't want to become observers. There's no incentive to become an observer.
Well, that's the issue. There's no incentive, right? Shouldn't there be an incentive?
Yeah. Do you want to pay $200 for annual dues in USAU? Yes, I do, and some people do, but most people don't. If we don't invest in the infrastructure, you're not going to get anything. It's Econ 101. Not to go all Econ professor on you, but if you want to spend money, you have to make money.
Give us the lesson. I am all about that. Like
budgets. Let me tell you how budgets work. There's a revenue and there's a cost. So if you don't have the revenue, you can't have the cost. So if you want to spend money on observers, you have to make money somehow. And if you don't, we
have to spend money. We have to spend our own money. We have to be willing to pay more. If we're going to complain about shit, we have to be willing to pay for something.
Amen.
What was I going to say about the
youth level self-officiating referees?
Pay. Oh, yeah. Quinn, would you pay? Would you pay higher dues? What would be the limit?
I would pay. I would pay 200 more bucks a year to have observer. But here's the thing: is like you mentioned regionals not having observers, like, but half the games or 90% of the games you play at regionals suck. They don't need observers.
Sucks for you though, not for the fifth or sixth best team in the region. That's like their whole season.
Sure, but do those games need like observers? I never find that those games get to the point where I'm like, oh, I wish we had an observer that game. It's always in the games that, game to go or the game to go. It doesn't feel necessary, but like at college nationals, at club nationals, at every single game should have observers, in my opinion. And at like pro champs too, every single game should have observers. But yeah, I would pay more. I would pay a couple $100 more for sure.
What if the observers suck?
Oof.
Well, you're paying for training too. You're not just paying for them to just be there.
Yeah.
You're paying for someone to train them, like on site.
Yeah.
That would be ideal, because the reality of it is most observers aren't super good at this point in the sport.
Right. I think probably same is true for referees in the AUDL. I'm willing to sort of give them a break, like, because there isn't money, but hopefully over time they're going to get better.
The refs or observers?
Both.
The
beauty of ultimate. Sorry, did you have a take?
I mean, observers have been we've had years or maybe close to decades now of observers, right?
So
it's like
you're pessimistic about the outlook of observers getting better.
I am pessimistic about the direction of funding our sport adequately.
Yeah. Okay.
Because people are cheap bastards. Like at the end of the day, it's like, if you want to be like soccer, if you want to be like lacrosse, if you want to be like volleyball or lacrosse or field hockey, even, you got to spend some money and people have to invest, and with no guarantee of a return. Like there's got to be a risk, no reward, as we say in the profession.
Are you still on the board, a USAU board? One of the?
Yeah, I'm a club men's representative in the club working group.
What does that mean? Does it give you any power or say or? Yes.
So every year we meet in person and we go over what you want to change in the guidelines. So the guidelines that were released a month ago, like you went through every point of that and said, do we want this? Do we want that? Like, do we want a World Cup draw at nationals? I was like, yes, we do. Like, we make changes to the guidelines. Like technically we propose changes to Will Deaver, and then Will Deaver, waves his magic wand and says yes or no. So like it's our job to, kind of incorporate or to gather feedback from players and from coaches, and then do something about it with every year's iteration of guidelines.
And you tell them that the observer system sucks and needs to be fixed?
There's also like a rules committee and an observer committee. I feel like there are other committees within USAU that have volunteers or elected officials, such as myself, that discuss changes to those systems. But anything that involves revenue or increasing dues or increasing expenditure, that is all at the board level. So those are like big decisions that like we can propose, but at the end of the day, it's like the people who are governing USAU can only approve or even consider these things. The next strategic plan is coming out this year. Like, so we're done with the last iteration of the strategic plan. So the next 5-year plan or 3-year plan or whatever it's going to be is actually in the process of getting made right now. And that's going to, the things that are set in that plan, whatever they're going to release next year, is going to guide how the board views every proposal that we have on increasing dues or on increasing equity or increasing observer pay or, all those things. So it only happens infrequently, but like you have to get it right when you do it.
Yeah. I'm curious if anybody listening, how much would you be willing to pay for dues as a listener? I think probably everybody on this call is willing to pay more. But I guess one of the beauties of Ultimate, and maybe the shitty, it sometimes can be a shitty thing, is the grassroots nature of it, and how, I don't go to party tournaments because I'm an old man. I don't really like them, but I don't know if you guys do. Do you go to layout, Pavel?
Absolutely. Like if I have to fly, I love parties. I am a sucker for a good party.
No, you don't. Do you really?
I went to layout when it was this year when it was crappy. It was 55, raining and windy. Again, it's a paradise. Besides that weekend, it was paradise.
Yeah.
I mean, socializing.
Did you go to layout before?
I did.
Did you go to Sandblast much?
I did it once in 2016.
Because Colorado Summit, we have Adam Levy. He used to run Sandblast, and now he is in charge of our partnerships program. Anyway, so going back to the grassroots nature of things, it's kind of cool that Pawel Janas, Quinn Finer, whatever, Jimmy Mickle, all these dudes can just be walking down the bridge, and Johnny random guy off the street who's been playing Frisbee for a month and just picked up with a random layout team can be walking side by side. So that's like kind of cool, the accessibility from that standpoint. But going back to that regionals game, that's like, it is some people's season, and not to sound elitist or anything, but for any of our teams, for it to be considered a success, at least for us to reach our goals. And I'll hedge a little bit, because we often talk about on this pod how results really shouldn't be why you're playing, and it should be really focused on growth and time spent together. As you shake your head, no, I know you truly believe this in your soul.
I have a lot to say about this. I'll let you finish your stupid thought, but I have a
lot. Yeah, I mean, long story short here is we're not here to be playing regionals. We're not here even. I mean, I suppose pro elite, but there are a lot of games that I wouldn't call a waste of our time, but it's not the competition level that we are seeking. Like if you are truly trying to play at the top of the sport, and then we have to play against all of these, I'll say it, lower tier teams, is it worth it? Does it make sense?
Not for you, but for the 5 times more of people, or the pool of people who would be paying the extra dues are exactly the people that want to play Bravo in South Central Regionals, right? It's
do you the ones that are looking really think so? Game. Like,
I know so, because I get emails from these people. Like, as a representative, as an elected official, I can tell you that like the majority of dues-paying people, don't make regionals because they're mostly sectional levels players. They have no idea who Bravo is. They just want to play sectionals and hopefully qualify for
right.
regionals.
But do they care about playing Bravo?
Yes, they do. That's why there's a huge split when you ask people, hey, do we want to require teams to go to sectionals? All the elite and below, or all the regionals level teams say yes, because that is like our season and we look forward to playing against these like top level players. And then all the top level players say, of course not, because we get injured. It's like 80-20. So 80-24 and then 20-84.
I mean, by far the majority of Ultimate players are not the top 16, top 20, top 25 teams, because there's a shit ton of teams and a shit ton of players on those teams.
Mike, I know you've never gotten this, but I don't know if you know this, but you're a minority in this. So I know no one's ever told you that you're a minority. But
I know that this is a minority view, right? Because most players are not nationals level players. Yeah, I guess this Quinn, I'll direct a question at you here. Like, does it make sense? Is this why AUDL maybe makes sense? Like,
I mean, yeah, I think AUDL has a brighter future, unfortunately. Pavel's shaking his head, but I really do. I mean, like, like Pavel was saying earlier, people take a chance with their money in the AUDL. They pour a lot of money into it with a large chance of negative to no returns. But people don't do that with USAU, and I really think AUDL has the brighter future. Maybe it's 10 years, maybe it's 20 years, but it's gonna be the primary source of ultimate quite soon, in my opinion.
So that is such a stupid thought, because there's no point in the future in our lifetimes where the AUDL will be in more places than club. Like, the AUDL is going to shrink their team, their number of teams. Like, it's going to go down because teams are going to go bankrupt very soon here. So, I mean, in equilibrium, I expect there to be no more than 10 AUDL teams that will survive in the next 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, you've told me that before.
Yeah. I mean, this is just facts. This is okay. I am an economics professor, and I'm telling you my professional opinion as someone who got a PhD in a business school. That in
you just said it was facts, and then you said it was your opinion.
Oh no! So this is my prognostication as an official prognosticator. Right. There will be 10 teams in 5 to 10 years of the ADL who are breaking even or losing small amounts of money. So there's no way in hell that there will be enough that people will travel to play on one of those 10 teams. And USAU is going to still be the main way of competitive play. It's never going to
because like an Abe Coffin won't want to play for whatever.
Absolutely not.
San Diego Growlers.
No.
Because he doesn't live there, and it's not worth the time and money.
Absolutely.
What would your dream scenario be?
I don't have any dreams. I'm too old for dreams. Only have regrets.
I'm 30 years old.
Externally. Internally, I feel dead. No, I think my dream is for there to actually be a youth movement. Like we have to generate demand for our own sport by going at the 11 and 12-year-olds, not by going at 29 jaded Pawels out there. Like, nobody gives a shit about me.
But all the 11 and 12-year-olds love the AUDL. They don't love club. They don't know what the hell machine is, but they know what the union is.
That's for sure. But they also need to have opportunities to play. Like, I wish, and this has been said before, and it gets repeated every year by everyone, and everyone sees this, but nobody wants to do anything about it. Like, we have to build a movement with middle schools and high schools and legitimize the sport for the.
I agree with that 100%.
2005, not people who were born in 1993. So
and Atkins, if he were here, this is what his Colorado dream is. He's trying to. We'll see how he does. I'm rooting for him. That's exactly what I think USAU should be completely focused on. When I took a survey in 2011-ish, right before the Triple Crown started, I was all on board for Triple Crown. I was I want to see Ultimate in the Olympics. I want to see more support for the top players, and I've completely 180 on that. I don't care about Olympics personally, and I don't think that resources from USAU should be focused on us at all. I think they should be spending a ton of money on youth and growing the sport there, and that'll pay dividends down the road. That does not mean that I don't want there to be a league, though, for us to play in. Well, I should say for you guys to play in. I'm not playing in that league.
Yes.
Agreed.
I mean, but it's also a small. I mean, it's not like they spend a lot of money on the club players anyway at the top level. It's
but why? What? I mean, it goes back to the regionals teams. Because those teams want to play the top teams for sure, and that makes sense why you would want to. But does it really make sense for the top teams to what is the argument for them to want to play, regional 10 team, sectionals 12 seed?
I mean, ideally what happens is that you get there are enough kids interested in actually seeing that game and coming out to a sectional or a regional as fans, right? So you provide a form of entertainment by having the best team beat up on a lower ranked team that's like local to the youth. Now, if you just isolate the top players and the top teams, and you never see that team play, as a fan, that's like, it's like, why am I like, what is my dream? Is my dream to be on a machine, or is my dream to play in the UDL? Like, that's like the visibility of top club teams kind of depends.
What is your dream? What is your dream then? Is it to play a machine, or is it to play in the Union?
My dream is to beat Quinn Finer next year. That's my only dream. That's all I've been thinking about for the last 6 months or whatever it is. So that's my dream.
Well, I think that those youth players, they'll get their fix from watching the Union play at a high level.
No, Chicago kids will get their fix. Chicago kids can go and go to the De La Salle Institute in Chicago and watch the Union play. But like the kid in Des Moines, Iowa can't do that. Like there's like they can go on ADL.TV, but like they don't feel any connection to a team in Chicago. Like
who are they watching? Who are they watching in any sport? I lived 30 minutes north of Des Moines for probably 6 years.
Minor league baseball, right? I know it's like it's
yeah. They have the iCubs actually.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that the club division is here to stay with us forever. And if we want to motivate the next generation of youth to actually continue playing in the sport, we need to have top level players compete locally and within region, so that like kids don't have to seek out YouTube clips and AUDL clips that have no association with their region or locality. Yeah. I think it's completely stupid.
Quinn, do you have any thoughts on maybe a way AUDL and USAU could partner in a way where like NFL players are not in the same organization that Pop Warner football players are, but they certainly run camps and clinics? Do you think something like that is viable?
I wish I knew. I really don't know. It just feels like the ADL is more accessible, and if they wanted to partner in some way, I think that would be great. But I don't see it happening. And I really don't know. Like I wish I knew. It's a tough topic, and
yeah,
I have no answers.
From an economist's point of view, does it not make more sense to just have USAU stop spending money on all these other tournaments and just pump it in? Or would they not have any money to spend if we weren't paying dues?
Well, from an economist perspective, the USA Ultimate is a nonprofit governing body of a sport, and their mission and their statements or the statements of their mission have nothing to do with like a profit motive or with revenue generation like the AUDL does, right? So it's like completely two different entities. Like if the goal of USAU is to grow the sport of ultimate, then yes. If the goal of USAU is to promote top level players so we can get into the Olympics, then obviously no.
What is the mission statement of USA Ultimate? Can we? Is that a Googleable thing? Can I Google that?
No, it is, definitely is, but it's going to change for the strategic plan is going to come out for 2024 through 2029. I think it's a 5-year plan. The whole mission and the whole goals will be very well defined there, just like goals were defined in the previous strategic plan. So like whatever those goals are the things that are trying to accomplish, and how they spend their money will depend on that. But the ADL has such a big profit motive because everyone's losing money. They need to have youth camps because youth drive business. Like literally, when you have youth camps and when you generate your own demand, that's literally spending money on your own demand. Like if you have kids that are at your camp and they want to see your game, they bring their friends, they bring their parents. Like that's how you get more fans in the seats. So it's like they have a very specific and very concrete motive to do youth work, and it's profit.
Yeah, to me it sounds like USAU and AUDL just go hand in hand based on everybody's priorities. I'm reading USA Ultimate's current mission statement. It says to advance the sport of ultimate in the United States by enhancing and promoting character, community, and competition, which is pretty vague. It definitely doesn't target any specific group or, which is fine. It doesn't have to. And I'm talking like age group. but I mean, of course, it makes sense for AUDL to invest in youth, but that's why I feel like there's a great opportunity for partnership here. If USA Ultimate focuses their resources on youth, and AUDL can still provide resources, coaches, camps akin to a cut camp or whatever. I know that they just announced, what is it called, the National Academy,
maybe.
Yeah. So
you have to understand something. Hold on. You have to understand that USAU is a very small organization. It is run by a dozen people, a dozen at most people, right?
And there's a ton of turnover. Well, relatively high turnover, right?
And the job that these people do is amazing. But if we want to have dedicated youth coordinators that are paid what they're worth for each state and to organize these things and not rely on volunteers, it will take a huge increase in everyone else's dues, or going after corporate sponsorships, or again, hiring someone to brainstorm ways for USAU to make more money. Just like ADL owners have money already and they're willing to spend it.
What about
paying coaches?
State organizations?
Well, now there's a big problem with state orgs not wanting to be part of USAU for like red tape reasons, and for USAU not actually providing a service by being an affiliate of a state organization. Like there are states that are backing away from that. So actually we're going backwards in the whole USAU affiliate system a little bit.
Right. Yeah. I want to echo one thing that you said about USAU, and that is they are a small organization, and I do think they do a great job with the resources that they have. It is entry level or slightly above entry level for most people on their staff. Like there's no way you can make a career out of it. So there's no reason why you would want to stay for very long. But these are all reasons that, in my opinion, there should be more action at the state level. Thinking about my time at the Brewers Association, for instance, and we were, the national governing body. Well, not governing. Our mission statement was to promote and protect small and independent craft breweries and brewing enthusiasts. And I've left, 5 years ago. But having a relationship with state guilds was hugely important. We had someone specifically in charge to manage those relationships and give them resources. And a lot of what was being accomplished, from my understanding, in terms of providing resources for brewers, would happen at the state level and happen at the local level. And I think that's the best way to grow. Like, I don't think we can really increase dues, USAU dues, and maybe, but like there have to be more local orgs who have resources as well, and potentially are charging dues. And at the national level, maybe they have resources to teach the teachers.
I mean, all the state organizations are going to, I think, resist. They're going to resist kind of guidance from like not federal, but like a overarching governing body, because they think they know what's best for their own locality and stuff, and which I think is fine. It's just, I think that one thing that upsets me is that like we have to actually hire people that know that actually want to do this, and compensate them well, which takes, again, a lot of resources. But like, if we hire 48 state coordinators whose only job it is to go into high schools or middle schools and teach PE teachers about Frisbee, I think that, and then, if there is enough interest to start a middle school league in your state, or a high school, or revamp your high school league, I think that's like a really good use of resources. But again, it takes hiring the right people and enough people to actually want to do that job.
And I can't imagine how much money per person this would cost just to do that one thing. It'd probably be a lot, and a bunch of people probably wouldn't pay it. Me sitting here just listening, it's it all comes back to money, unfortunately.
It does.
Everything that we're talking about is coming back to money. It's the resources to do all this stuff is money. And so bringing up the AUDL is they are seeking, they have a very capitalistic mindset, and they're seeking to be profitable. Why wouldn't that be the best way to go until they are? Who knows when they will be profitable, and then they can kind of start funding some of this stuff to a certain extent. It's kind of a pipe dream, but it does seem like the most realistic way to do it, because getting hundreds of Frisbee players from Iowa to pay extra dues is just probably not going to happen, right? So it does feel like the ADL is in the right direction, and hopefully can start to fund some of this stuff. And then maybe USAU, like you were saying, Mike, can start to push out youth stuff, and maybe lower level club teams become like feeder teams for ADL teams for the higher level, for the semi-pro or the pro or whatever you want to call it. Who knows how long that'll take and if that'll ever happen, but that's kind of what I got from all of that. Is it's tough to say though.
Yeah, Pavel, do you have would you have a recommended solution? Is there not one? Are you just a pessimist?
Someone's got to win the lottery and be altruistic enough to donate most of it to USAU.
You really think that's the only way?
No. I mean, unfortunately, I think we are not accustomed to liking or appreciating marginal change. I think we all want to have like a big positive shock, and that's how we internalize rewards, or that's how we think things are changing. But all these things take a lot of time.
You think we're moving in the right direction, though?
I believe the next strategic plan of USAU is going to be a move in the right direction. Yes.
Can you share any tidbits from that plan, or is that all?
I'm gonna. So my I think my relationship to that plan is going to be on the focus group that talks about the pro and USAU ultimate relationship. So I'm going to be in that discussion, but there's so many other discussions like the DEI efforts, different, triple crown tours, or even keep triple crown tour, all that stuff. That's like competition stuff that I'm not going to be a part of, but yeah, I mean, this is going to be such a long process, and hopefully we get it right. But whatever it is, it's like people will have to realize that like something probably has to change with the way we finance our
sport.
Hobbies. Yeah.
Do you think having all of those different sectors of USAU, we're talking about all these different groups, do you think that is counterproductive to a certain extent? It feels like all of those different groups slow down the process of all this. Like if we could combine or consolidate some of them, maybe it would help speed things up. Or I
think that would just take way too much time, because like if you think about just
resources,
the club group, like we have 6 reps and 3 national directors and one and the head of the club working group. So we have like 10 people just working on competition guidelines of like how is the club season going to look like. And then there's the same thing for college, same thing for beach, same thing for masters. Then a rules committee, a different DEI committee. Like you need. If you don't want to hire these people, you have to rely on volunteers, and you can't ask volunteers to be on all these committees. So I think it's unrealistic to to do that. It's like it's you're trying to do you're trying to do good work in a reasonable amount of time, so you don't get burnt out. So I'm just amazed at people who volunteer, a lot for not just USAU but for their local disc orgs and stuff like that. Like those are the people that are driving the sport forward.
They're the true heroes of Ultimate.
We need a mega rich dude or woman to just pour like $100 million.
Sal's listening. Come on, Sal. I know you're listening. Get some of that marijuana money.
I bet we could get Elon Musk to like Frisbee. I feel like he could just dump $100 million into USAU and we'd be set for life.
You said something earlier though that resonates with me, and that's people may not appreciate the gains on the margins or the incremental improvements over time. And the sport is even a lot different than it was 5 years ago and 10 years ago. Well, even not the sport itself. Well, some of it is, but there's more visibility. There's more ways to watch. There's more ways to consume. And I work in software, so that's very much what we are about. It's the agile life cycle, constant improvement, iteration. There's this book that I like a lot that a coworker recommended to me called The Lean Startup. And the idea is you just try to get your your product to market as quickly as possible, and you call that the MVP, the minimal viable product, or the minimum viable product. And then iterate, let the market tell you what they want and what they need, because it turns out that we as developers, or we as decision makers, overthink it a lot and try to make things perfect from day one, when that's just not realistic. You have to let everybody, one step forward every day is a lot better than, wait 100 years to make that one giant leap from point A to point B.
Except for the difference here being that we don't have an MVP for Frisbee.
Yeah, I mean, we are an MVP.
We are an MVP.
Yeah, I mean, AUDL is probably still MVP. It's definitely not viable. Well, it's not viable long term in terms of surviving economically.
I mean, I would argue the AUDL, the brand, AUDL, the corporate, is at this point sustainable-ish for the near future because of the sponsorships that they've been able to secure. The teams, the franchises are not. The teams are
okay.
For the most part. I mean, of course, there are outliers. There are people there are teams and owners who are better at this than others. The corporate side, they're developing the video game. They have TV deals. They have the NFTs. Like, they have other streams of income, and outside investments and strategic investments from various branding partners that will kind of ensure that they survive for the foreseeable future. I mean, at some point, someone wants to get out. At some point, someone will want to get out, and at some point, someone will want to sell their stake in the UDL, the corporate entity, and then it's going to get interesting as to who actually wants to take this project on and kind of launch it for the next 10 years.
How many AUDL teams do we have? Is it 25?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why do we don't need to, we can have fewer teams and still be a good league, don't you think?
I mean, that's what's going to happen, right? I mean, unfortunately, they sold franchises. You can't just take the franchises away. Someone somewhere paid whatever, $50K or $500 or whatever, what year you bought a franchise to have an ADL team in that city, and they're going to run their city because that's their right as a property owner to have a city.
Well, the league didn't let us exist until last year because of prohibitive costs to travel to Colorado, from what I understand. So
so you needed to have an owner that could afford that.
Yeah, well, also convince the other owners to be willing to travel here.
Fair enough.
So I guess my point is, I don't think the league would be bad if we only had 10 teams.
We should just start relegating teams, is the bottom line. If you lose, you get relegated, and then you can't come back.
The model might work better in the AEDL than USAU.
It would.
The relegation model.
But then you would play the same 3 teams over and over again. Now we play the same 5 teams or 4 teams over and over again. Or 6 teams. And then if you relegate teams, then you're really just playing the same dudes every other week. It's just this is boring.
All right, we have to think that one through.
Every week, Pavel?
What's that?
You don't want to play against me every week for the next 10 years?
You don't have 10 years left in you. There's that's a pipe dream of yours.
Oh, okay. You do though? Okay.
I've seen your knees. I've seen what you do in the field. No. I know your body. No.
Because you're a Standler?
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, you're the what do we call you? You're like a plinko. You're a ping pong ball. You're all over the field.
By the time I'm your age, I'll be a Standler too.
Yeah.
Well, he will be out of the club game because no one will want to have you as a Standler. So you'll be in a lower tier.
Pavel,
get
this
relegated.
is a good transition because I wanted to kind of move away from Frisbee politics and into more on-field stuff, and maybe I would love for you to get as nuanced as you'd be willing to. Hopefully you'd be willing to nerd out, but can you talk about your play style, you as a thrower, what you've worked on, what you think about as a thrower?
Not turning it over.
Game manager Pavel. Give me the nitty gritty. Like, what do you do to get a break mark off? What do you do to get a huck off? What are you thinking about? What are your read progressions?
I mean, every offense is different, right? So it's hard to say because if you go into a team or a system being like, okay, I'm going to do these checkdowns, and then that's not what the team wants from you, then you're in trouble. You're not going to play a lot. So like a great example of that is like last year, me centering it to Abe a couple times and then him centering it to me. Like I couldn't, like there was your risk tolerance and like the looks that you're taking and the pull plays that we run is predicated on who is catching to whom and what plays and what the play is called, right? So it's like you can't get stuck in a mindset of I'm going to do one pivot here, one pivot there, and then I'm going to throw it to the break side guy who's cutting deep or whatever. Like you can't do that. You have to adjust to what the team wants from you. Like I'm very maybe I accommodate systems maybe more so than I should, but like Joe White doesn't accommodate shit. Like he just does Joe White stuff.
He's an artist.
It's different.
He's an artiste.
No, he's not an artist. He's a fucking stubborn piece of. But so,
he's your favorite teammate, right?
Absolutely, by far. I love Joe White. But no, I think one thing that makes me maybe different than others is that like I don't give a shit about. I'm not stubborn. I'm not stubborn about doing head fakes, a shimmy, and then breaking IO lanes. Like I don't care. Like I can give and go for the whole field. I can bomb it if you need me to do that.
Yeah. Like, okay.
I don't care at all.
Let's get Pavel into a little bit more of a positive headspace here because you're telling me exactly what I want to hear. These are great little tidbits. You're presenting it, in this like antithetical way that you're.
I mean, the question was posed. Give it like, what are you thinking about? And I think what I'm trying to convey, I'm not doing a good job.
I'm just trying to help a friend here, Pavel.
I think about nothing. I think about what the situation calls in that moment.
Okay, so this year you centered to both you and Abe pretty equally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you feel, and some to Paul? Yeah. So more so than previous years, and definitely more so than the Union season.
Definitely.
Do you think was it harder to find a rhythm? Like you're talking about these different plays, and it depends on who is in the play, including who you're centering to. Did you struggle with that?
No, I think it just narrowed the focus. I think I had the best nationals I've ever played because it was such a narrow focus for me where I knew exactly what plays are going to be called when I'm being centered to. I know what plays Abe is going to have to execute. And I know going into a tournament, I know exactly what I have to focus on because it's just way more narrow than what I've had in the past. So like you can prepare mentally and physically, to be honest, knowing what the team needs of you. And when that shrinks,
if you get centered to, you would run a dominator.
I can't expose that. I mean, there's a guy here who. No,
this is what Mazer said on the commentary. This is not even me gleaning stuff off of film.
No. I think if I get centered to, we're probably looking at some horizontal slash from like Joe, and then continuing to like Walt or something something pretty easy. Probably not like a standstill huck. I think Abe was and is better at that. So I think Abe would take more of the deep shots and I would take more of the safer break throws and the unders with the possibility of giving going. And especially if there's a zone, breaking the zones and stuff like that, like little short diggy stuff.
So compare your strengths to Abe's, Jordan's, Paul's, or the other centering folks.
Abe has much higher risk aversion. Lower risk aversion. Like he is capable of putting up some crazy stuff that works. It's like huge backends and huge hucks. Um, as I have matured as a person and as a player, value possession at the disc, and my strength is completing 90% of my throws that are pretty easy, but also driving the offense down the defense's throat in a way, like just unapologetically giving going, not just giving going, but just like moving the disc so that we get into the end zone. And like I've struggled with this mentally because I think a huge reason as to why like people like get hype and clout surrounding themselves is because they do flashy stuff. And I have no flash in my game anymore. There's zero flash. Like I don't even pivot anymore. Like I don't even like I used to like fucking
You had the pump fake counter.
pump fakes. I don't even do pump fakes anymore because that's like too flashy. Like, I don't even do any pump fakes anymore. So it's like I just complete the bread and butter, and like people don't like to talk about that or appreciate that. And
That's all we talk about over here.
It hurts the super ego, but like I would much rather win, I feel, than fucking complete a 50-yard blade so that I can get on Ulti World so that people are like, yeah, Pawel, he's really good. It's like I don't give a shit.
I think you're describing the reasons why you should move back to Colorado because
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah. Quinn, give your take on the way we play offense, and I'm curious to hear what Pawel thinks as an outside observer these days.
I think the best iteration of our offense was obviously at Nationals, but it was. I don't want to say we all kind of just took the easy shots because that's not true. We had Atkins throwing just the most psychotic shit all the time, and myself throwing some crazy shit too. But centering to Ben was so good for our offense because he did exactly what you described, as in just that first breaking the mark for a 7-yard gain to me off initiation is massive for an offensive, massive for the whole team, and it doesn't get talked about enough. It's probably the most important part of the entire offense is that like that easy that first break mark throw, that unflashy thing that doesn't get the recognition. And we talked about this on a previous pod. It's just like, how do you quantify a player when they're not, doing crazy shit all the time and throwing turns and throwing deep shots? And like, if they're throwing a bunch of high difficulty breaks, nobody's going to notice that. It's not going to come up on a stat sheet, but that's the most important person in that offense. So yeah, if you want to be that guy, we got a spot for you.
No.
So yeah, I don't know how many times I'm going to say this on different pods, but a lot of people have told me that Bravo, your offense was you love the long ball, and your HUC completion was incredible. Or like one thing that I really appreciated was our attitude on the field. Like it seemed like we were having fun is genuinely what people's observations were. That was not always the case, but it definitely manifested that way for a great portion of the season, especially Nationals after day one. But really the only thing we practiced at every practice was reset defense and reset offense, and getting it off the line, attacking up line, the reads off of that, when to activate from the backfield versus when to activate from downfield. One of my least favorite things to watch any Frisbee player do is catch a swing, stare upfield at nothing, stare upfield at nothing, stare upfield at nothing,
especially from the sideline.
Yeah, what is the point of that? There's 0 point. And in my opinion, was our deep game very successful at Nationals? Yes. Like, can we replicate that? I have no idea. But I also think that, we have some fucking good players, some really good receivers, some really good throwers. But also, I feel like we were able to generate, for the most part, pretty good looks. At times had to make big plays, but the reason we were able to generate good looks is for the most part because of the motion that happens prior to the shot that goes up.
Had I known this was a Bravo circle jerk, I would not have come on. So what was your warning? Like, I am going to say that truck. I mean, okay, hold on. But the counterpoint, truck was exactly Bravo without the flashiness. So like, and you guys beat truck, and there's a reason, because you guys were flashy, because you could just put it up and someone would just sky the shit out of someone else. Like that was the difference between you being a champion and you not being a champion. It's
like
truck.
Being willing to take the risk.
And executing the risk and having the athletes to go up and go get it, and like having crazy psychotic rule breakers like Atkins that can just put up stupid shit.
Yeah, the rule breaker
that worked in one day, and right. So it's like that's the difference there.
We openly admitted that truck definitely had the best offense last year.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think it was. Not you said it definitely was missing a bit of fuck it, flash. Let's just jack it and see what happens. But yeah, they definitely had the best offense. But
yeah,
boohoo.
Yeah, I'll jerk myself off a little bit more here. One of the like mid-season, we were having our D-line was much better than our O-line. Well, more successful than our O-line for a great portion of the year, and we had to mix and match personnel, and we didn't really figure it out till probably nationals. But one thing that TK really he brought this to the table was, hey, like to the O-line, stop worrying about being perfect all the time and really hang your hat on not being perfect, but grinding after you turn it over and playing top-notch defense. Again, like I cannot say for certain that this yielded the result that we, were looking for, but I thought it was a helpful mentality shift of like playing a little bit more free, like less worried about making that mistake at times, and knowing that if you do turn it over, like this is now our identity. Our identity is not being perfect and completing every single pass. Our identity is no matter what, we're going to play for each other and grind it out. And hopefully our defense, our D-line can bail us out if we fuck up too many times. All right, jerk circle over. Pawel, I actually will show you one clip, and then maybe we'll end with some rapid fire questions where we won't respond. Let me figure out how to share my screen again, because I've only done this one other time. I'm going to show you the same clip that Joe White asked us to play, because apparently it's his favorite play that he's made of all time. Oh. And you are involved. Do you remember this?
Did you ask him who won this game?
He rightfully told us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's on Kurt Gibson there. I don't think Kurt knew that Joe was there. Like Joe was like running this out. I was like, that was a perfect put in my opinion.
You don't see the backside help there?
You don't think you left him to the stack side a little bit?
Nah, dude, he's got to go get that. I mean, Kurt doesn't even jump. He thinks he's wide open.
Well, what about all of this space by the photographer? Why didn't you fucking throw it over there? There's nobody around. The only defender in the area is Joe.
Man, this pod is getting worse and worse. I had fun, and now it's just misery.
So this just reminded me, I got to ask, what is the beef with you and Tire Biz Frizz on Twitter and some other people on Twitter? You got to tell me what's going on there.
I have no idea who those people are.
I don't either.
I have no idea how I have a beef with UC Santa Cruz.
Yes, yeah, that's what it is.
Johnny Oates. Like, this guy is firing on all cylinders in the Ulti World Discord. and he was like hyping themselves up before press day, and then they like didn't do so well press day, and I was like, okay, Santa Cruz is on fraud watch because like because they didn't do as well as they should have. I was like being completely serious, like as an analyst and as a smart person of the game, like this is your own fraud watch. And then he just came at me personally, like personal attacks, like who the fuck are you, like what have you done? I was like, I'm not responding to this. And then on Twitter, again, they made that stupid video and like they tagged, they said suck it, Pawel. I was like, I can't let this go. I can't let this go. I'm going the only thing that sucks is UC Santa Cruz like nationals record because they haven't made nationals since 2012 or something. It's like, again, a fact. I'm stating a fact that this team has sucked since I was in college. And then, again, they can't argue that. And now apparently they have some prepubescent friends at Tire Biz Frizz or whatever it's called. And they tweeted that. It's like, all right, this is a new level of mockery that like I'm just gonna roll with it.
Oh gosh,
I loved it. I was watching.
Like,
it was hilarious.
Yeah, Pawel, be Pawel. I will say I was hoping, I was hoping to introduce the Pawel that I hold near and dear in my heart to the entire world. I have a soft spot for you, but
people change, man.
Maybe you are just an asshole.
Slowly but surely, people are figuring this out. This is good.
No. I actually do have one more question before we do rapid fire, and I want to ask you about making Team USA and like, what was the feeling like when the tournament was canceled, and were you able to bond with any of those teammates?
No, it fucking sucked, man. COVID sucks. I don't know. At some point last year, I realized that like that could have been it for me. Like that could have been the highlight of my career that never happened. So it's like when you have that realization and like you feel like a part of you died. I had I held a little funeral for me in my career. It's like, okay, this is it. Like I'm not gonna make any other Team USA's maybe. And it's just like
it's
cool.
like as prestigious of an accomplishment as you can have.
You could have it, but then you actually have to go and win the gold medal. It's like great. Didn't have that opportunity. Yeah, I know like a bunch of people died, but me here not being able to hit frisbee kind of important for me. So it's fuck you, COVID, I guess.
Damn.
Did you build any relationships from the team?
We didn't even practice. It was literally like they announced it March 17th. Like they literally, I got like we get.
You have a group me though, or
we had a group me, and like, oh hey, we're gonna have one Zoom call, like because it was gonna be Zoom before COVID. So we had a Zoom call, so we all jump on. This is what's going to happen. We're going to have a training camp April, May, June, or whatever. And then we have a second Zoom call saying, okay, actually, this COVID thing is going to be a thing. We're going to cancel the April one and still go in May and June. And then the third Zoom call is like, it's not happening this year. Like, there's no way this is happening. But to his credit, Dylan Freechild said at the very first thing that he posted in the group meet is like, guys, this is not happening. And we're all like laughing at him. He's like, nah, Dylan, you're just being a pessimist. And Dylan Freechild, for some fucking reason, was the smart person in the room that like said, guys, this is really not happening. And he predicted it in March. So that's, but no, to answer your question, zero relationship building. Because all of us kind of knew that it's not going to happen. So why get your hopes up?
Who do you have the best relationship with in Frisbee?
Walden Nelson. Absolutely. I love that guy.
Walden, that's a good one. Tommy?
Tommy Gebhardt? No, Tommy who?
Yeah, just throwing Tommy.
I mean, I don't know if you know Tommy, what Tommy's going through right now, but yeah, I do still.
Oh, I do. Yeah, he's having some health issues, isn't he?
Well, he just recovered from a brain tumor. Like he
recently
had a brain tumor. Everything's going well. Everything so far is going okay, but yeah, he recently had a health scare. And he's
Quinn,
second.
Oh, that's awesome. You probably don't know Tommy. He played one year on the team. Pawel's second to last year, but he didn't do 5, right? He just did.
No. He did 4, then moved to Kansas in 2016 or 2015 through 2016.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that Tommy's hopefully doing okay, and glad to hear he's got that second baby.
Yep.
I'm going to list off some players.
Mm-hmm.
You just respond with overrated, underrated, or properly rated.
Okay.
We'll start with Jimmy Mickle. Let's go.
Properly rated.
You're not worried about hurting feelings, are you?
No. So with Jimmy, it's like, does he care enough, and is he in shape, and is he not injured? So the thing with Jimmy is like the way I view his rating is like it's always number 1 or number 2 or whatever. Like he's always very, very high, but he doesn't always play like it, and he always gets the green light to have a lot of turnovers. And he will never, like, his value won't diminish despite how bad in shape,
Like
or
his
how
usage
bad.
rate.
Exactly, like that.
His value
will
will diminish, but his usage
No.
rate will not.
No, exactly. No. So his actual value will diminish. Hit the height.
Yeah.
Rating will never diminish because people don't want to update their beliefs about a player that they hold as a legend. So that's why I say it's properly rated. It's like if he's in shape and if he's playing a proper usage role and he's not turning it over, great. I love Jimmy, but there are times, obviously, that he can be inconsistent, and obviously sometimes he gets injured, sometimes he's not in shape, and he's not a really a good player.
2019 semis against you, not his best game.
For example. Yeah, I mean, everyone can have a bad game, but like, that's okay. Properly rated. Next.
All right. We got to speed this up anyway. Let's go to your teammate, Joe White.
Overrated.
Nate Goff.
Overrated.
Rafi Hayes.
Overrated.
Dylan Freechild.
Properly rated.
Quinn Finer.
Properly rated.
Alex Atkins.
Properly rated.
Pawel Janas.
Underrated.
I'll do a bonus one. Sean Keegan.
Underrated because his rating is so low. Like this is like because like people don't
People
like
think
Sean
he sucks
because
now.
No. People think that he's just like a bad person, which he's not, and people think he complains a lot on the field, which he does. He has like a character. He's a character issue, and people bleed that into his talent and what he provides for Pony. So people don't rate him very, very, very highly. So I think, is underrated.
He's not a fan favorite locally, but he is a very good friend of mine. So I always try to hype him up.
I agree.
I actually think he's really fucking good too. But.
I do too. I just think he's a douche.
Yeah.
He flipped us off this year at Pro Champs.
I mean,
from the sideline.
He actually has character issues. Like we can't.
Crazy, dude.
Like and most of the New York guys do though. Like most of the New York guys are kind of full of themselves, to be honest. So it's
I've got one New York. I brought Sam Little.
Underrated. Oh my god, that
100%.
Like maybe I've been saying this for years now.
Maybe the most underrated guy in club.
Might be the most underrated.
Now that we're all saying he's underrated,
you're right.
He can be overrated at some point.
But dude, fuck, that guy's good, man.
Yeah, he's my favorite player to watch on Pony. All right, some rapid fire cues from the Q guy.
Yeah, let's do it. Favorite player now and when you were growing up.
Jack McShane when I was growing up.
Love that.
And
Pawel Janas now.
Pawel Janas now. You read my fucking mind.
Do you actually have a real answer, or was that it?
Let's stay with that one.
All right, cool.
A real answer?
Yeah, give me a real answer, please.
Favorite player isn't to watch. Favorite player to emulate. Favorite player.
However you want to put value to it.
Sean McDougal, because I need him to be catching a lot of my hucks this year.
Okay.
Wait, he's on the Aviators now?
Oh, he sure will be. Once this pod drops, he'll be announced. So yeah.
Now we knew that.
Did we?
That was a Kins Bomb episode 0.5.
Oh, I didn't listen.
No, it was
before I was on. All right. Hardest matchup you've ever had?
Nobody. Literally, nobody. Eric Potaling.
Why is it Cody Spicer? Because we all know it's Cody Spicer.
Oh.
So that's not a difficult matchup because he shouldn't be guarding me. And so whenever he is, it means there is a mismatch somewhere else in the field, and you will take that. So it's not a...
Somebody else will take it because you don't have the disc.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, who cares? Okay. Like in terms of, like it's not a hard matchup at all because I just don't do anything. It's like, okay, guard me, Cody. We can just jerk off in the corner there and let my team score. It's awesome. Like, I really appreciate that. Like, great. Like, the coaching staff is so stupid to put Cody Spicer on me. This is that. Like, he doesn't belong on me. He can guard someone else. But yeah. Okay.
All right, noted.
Best player you've ever played with.
This is so stupid. AJ Nelson.
Best teammate?
AJ.
Well, Nelson is the best teammate.
What is the best year you've had personally as a player?
2023.
Do you have a pregame meal?
Panera Bread.
And then post-game recovery?
Panera Bread.
Hell yeah.
Not Chipotle. Wow. Okay.
I have to contractually say that because we're trying to get sponsored by Panera Bread. So.
Good. We'll send this to him. Favorite way to eat a potato?
So many
So
good
what
ways.
you do is you actually make a huge bonfire. So you make a huge bonfire, you have a good time, you roast marshmallows, and then when all the wood is burned and it's just like the ashes, you put in the potato and you bake it for 45 minutes. And when you take it out of the ash, you scrape the ash off and you just eat it straight like that. So it's a fire pit baked potato. Best taste, best everything. Put a little salt, a little butter. That's the way you eat a potato.
Damn.
Wait, did you say unwrapped in the fire?
Yeah. Just throw it in there. So it's
Just
all the
charred.
ashes, all the char, all the ashes are there. It's not on fire. It's not smoky anymore. But it's still hot enough to bake something. So you just put don't skin it. Don't put this, don't peel it or anything. Just put the potato in there, let it bake for 45 minutes. Then just take it out. Wipe off the ash or whatever you want to call it, and just bite into it with some salt. And some
Just like an apple.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I mean, at that point it's soft and it's got a great taste because like that smoky taste.
You're an idiot.
I like that.
This is a true answer. 99% of this pod was just me being an idiot, but this is the 1% where I'm actually
That's
serious.
the one
This
true
is
All right, I believe you.
All right,
That is a
that's all I
tough
got.
question, though. There are so many fucking good ways to eat a potato.
What's your answer, Mike?
And, I love French fries. I make a lot of mashed potatoes.
You're gonna have to, but if it's French fry, you have to specify like what French fry it is because there's hundreds of French fries,
Shit.
like shoestring, waffle, curly.
I'll do my top 4 power rankings. Classic is just McDonald's.
All right.
And then I'll go curly fries from Arby's. And I'll go my own homemade baked fries. I cut the fries myself. You boil them for about 8 minutes in salt and vinegar water, and then you lay them out in a sheet tray. You use a little oil, maybe some peanut oil, unless you're allergic to peanuts. Bake it for 20 minutes or so. Flip it halfway between. It's fucking good. Easy. Kind of time consuming, but
Yeah. What's number 4?
oh, number 4. Shit. That fish fry batter? I don't know what those fries are called, but those are really good. Nothing fancy though. I don't need to put a lot. Maybe like Chipotle mayo. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
You agree, Pawel, right?
too much fried stuff in your diet, bro. You got to cut back on the fried
Oh
stuff.
man, dude, I am down. I'm cutting right now. I am down
For what, Mike?
14 pounds since February 5th.
Gotta
I'm
think.
cutting because I'm turning 40 this year. I'm trying to get lean and do a nude photo shoot at the end of the year.
Hell yeah.
All right.
You don't look a day over 22.
I look pretty good. I'll give you that.
You look great.
Quinn, you have a favorite way to eat a potato?
Waffle sweet potato fry
That's a good one.
with
That's a
ranch.
good one. You don't like French fries?
It's like molestation. It's like it's crime against potato. It's
No.
it's-
You just threw it in the fucking ashy fire pit
but I didn't
That's
cut
better.
it into little strings of nothing and
of deliciousness. It's the best way to. Oh, you know what? The Belgian frites. I'll put that number 4. You go to Louisville. What is that little brewery called? I'm blanking on it, but on Main Street there in Louisville, they have good pizza too.
Louisville Brewing.
No. Something degree. 12. I'm gonna kill myself for not remembering this because I work in beer. Well, okay. Quinn, any closing thoughts? Any closing questions for the golden potato, the fried potato?
Do you have any questions for us, for me, for Mike?
So many questions.
Give us your best one.
Fuck, marry, kill. Eric, Will Laurie, Ben Laurie. Go.
Oh, that's easy, but
Mike, me or you first?
I mean, it's no question. Sorry, Becky, I'm killing you.
We're gonna have the same answer.
Definitely fucking Will.
And I'm marrying Ben. That's so easy. It's too easy, dude. I would love to spend the rest of my days with Ben. We'd have such a good life.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Oh, bye, Rebecca. Bye, Becky. Bye,
different Becky. Different.
All right.
All right. Is that all you got, Pop?
I want to go home, man. I want to eat a potato. I'm hungry.
Right. Well, we appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on the pod. Thanks for joining us. You know what? I know I said I'd put this in post, but it's just easier. I like the feeling of the outro music. So
yeah, so good.
I like to see Pavel's face in his hands. Just sad sack of potatoes.
Can't wait to beat you week 1.
Peace out.